Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are doing my Game Week 21 team selection video where I'm going to be picking at my team, showing you my scores last week and obviously choosing my captain as well, which is probably going to be Haaland again. But we move. Guys, if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like, massively helps out the channel. Can we shoot for 1,500 likes on this video? That would be epic, and please do subscribe if you're new around here as well. First of all, the Game Week 20 scores, and I am recording this on Thursday, so there still is one more game to play, and that is Manchester City versus Spurs. So maybe things can change a little bit. I've still got 4 players to play, including Haaland's captain, but not triple captain. I did not go for the triple captain in the end for Game Week 20. But overall, so far, so good. Another nice rank increase. We seem to be on a little bit of a roll since the break, which is really, really nice to see. We're inside the top 1 million finally, and I think we should be secure inside the top 1 million by the end of the game week as well. So small achievements, you know, it's a very bad start to the season, but we do seem to be finally climbing up the ranks and getting closer to the areas that we actually want to be. So I know it's, you know, not a big deal for a lot of people. Some people will, you know, have much higher ranks than this, but I feel like you just got to take every achievement and be pleased with it and be pleased of how you're getting on. So that's exactly where I am. A few points bench with Bruyne and Dunk. That's no big deal, I suppose. But the likes of Tony really coming through here. Trippier doing his usual business and going for Kepa in goal ahead of Ward was a really kind of clutch play and really does give us some questions to answer in future game weeks as well. We will talk about that in just a minute's time. But yeah, overall, very pleased with the result again. I think we're doing pretty well, and hopefully we can continue this streak into Game Week 21. A single game week, finally a single game week to talk about. So yeah, let's get on with that. Alright guys, so 1 free transfer, 0.9 million in the bank. Let's start off in goal with Kepa. So yes, I know a lot of people will be going for Ward, who is playing against Brighton, but I'm actually thinking I want to go for Kepa this week. Again, it seems to be very often the case, and particularly those people who have been rotating, Kepa and Edison, for example, have found themselves kind of, you know, a little bit disappointed a lot of the time recently. But at the end of the day, Kepa, I know people constantly complain about him and think he's a bad goalkeeper. I really don't think he is. He makes a lot of saves, and Chelsea are still one of the best defences in the league. If you look at the numbers, like, they are one of the stronger defences in the league, and Liverpool are just in a lot of trouble right now. They really are, and I feel like Chelsea, with the new signings that they're making, maybe there's like an increase of confidence in there. They clearly want to turn things around. They're clearly a team that can keep clean sheets even if they don't necessarily score a lot of goals, but they don't concede that many chances really either. So I think a lot of people are maybe being a little bit harsh on Chelsea from a defensive point of view, and I'm happy to keep Kepa really and play him against Liverpool, and I think he could potentially keep a clean sheet in this game. It's going to be a big game, it's going to be an intense game, it's going to be a cagey game, so I think chances could be kept fairly low. And then you're kind of looking forward, Fulham, West Ham, Southampton. I'm liking the look of those fixtures for Kepa as well, so he is a goalkeeper I am going to choose to stick with. Into defence, we've got Trippier, the player who refuses to blank, never blanks, always gets those points, and we're actually seeing people start to think about actually captaining Trippier each week, so it's really crazy what an amazing FPL asset this guy has become, really. Crystal Palace is a very good fixture. They don't create a lot of chances themselves, and we kind of hope that Newcastle, with the defence that they have, are going to keep yet another clean sheet. Nathan Ake up next. Wolves, provided that Ake starts, you would say that Manchester City surely are going to keep a clean sheet against Wolves. It's a home game as well. Wolves are kind of the team in the Premier League that are well known as not creating very many chances, not scoring many goals, and Man City are a team well known as being the most solid defence in the league. I don't know if that's necessarily true at this exact moment. I think there are some other defences that are competing with them, the likes of Arsenal, Newcastle, and even Manchester United at the moment. But to be fair to Manchester City, they are still right up there. And if you're being compared to these other teams that are doing really well defensively, then I think that's a good thing for Man City. Even if they're not clear the best defence at the moment, they still are an incredible defence, and Ake, I do think, is going to be one of the more nailed on defenders there, so I'm happy that I have gone for him. You know, he's going to be playing at left back whenever Cancelo is not playing, and he's also going to be able to play at left centre back as well, so 2 positions for him to play in. I think he should continue to start most games. I'm not expecting him to start every single game, and to be fair, even if he does have to miss the occasional game, I have got, you know, other players on the bench that can come in and do the business. Moving on to my final defender, who is Lewis Dunk. So yeah, I'm going to go for Lewis Dunk here. here as my third defender. Leicester away. It's not an amazing fixture, but I don't think Leicester are an amazing attack, really. I'm sure you guys will probably agree that Leicester kind of have found themselves in a lot of trouble recently. They're really not looking too good at the moment, and Brighton have looked amazing. I am a little bit concerned about Brighton's defensive numbers. I'm not super keen on them, and I do feel like any team has the potential to score against Brighton for sure, but the form in general and the confidence in general that we are seeing from Brighton at the moment compared to Leicester, I feel like Brighton are really going to fancy themselves in this game, and as long as they can keep things defensively tight, you know, that's going to be a good thing. You know, from set pieces as well, we know Leicester do concede a lot of chances from set pieces, and a player like Lewis Dunk, who is that aerial threat from the corners and free kicks, that's going to be a very good thing as well, and gives us the potential for what you probably would call a lucky haul. You know, one of those, sometimes you do get like a random defender, scores a header, gets a clean sheet, and they're suddenly on a 15-pointer or something like that, and you would feel like Lewis Dunk has the potential to do that in this game. So I'm going to roll the dice, I'm going to see what I can do, and hopefully the luck is on my side. Like, you've got to make your own luck at the end of the day, right, guys? We've got De Bruyne in midfield, Wolves at home, and again, a fixture that I quite like for Man City. De Bruyne has been, I think, in actually reasonably good form. He's been very creative, and he's been taking the odd shot on as well. Hasn't always been going his way recently with Manchester City in general. Things not always going their way, but at the same time, we do know De Bruyne is a fantastic player and can make magic happen in any game. So I do like the look of him for this game as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how he performs in the Spurs game tonight as well. You guys will probably have watched that game by the time this video comes out. So yeah, how did I do, guys? Let's find out, I guess. But yeah, certainly moving forward. He is expected to start tonight as well. I know there's been some kind of rumours about him potentially being injured. He's not been in training, of course. But yeah, he is predicted to be available for the Spurs game. And even if he isn't, you know, if he's on the bench for whatever reason, or is not quite ready for that game, and it will, you know, I take a major L for Game Week 20, the fact that there is so much talk about De Bruyne being very close for that game, if not available for that game, I do think moving forward he is going to be absolutely fine, so not too worried about that one. We've got Marcus Rashford up against Arsenal. Difficult one to call because Arsenal just do seem to be doing the business defensively. Ramsdale's in good form in goal as well, and though Manchester United are a fantastic team at the moment and doing so well, this is just such a hard game to call. If you're a Man United fan, you probably think, oh well, you know, Man United are going to beat Arsenal. On the other hand, you probably think that Arsenal are going to beat Man United if you're an Arsenal fan, but who knows? I'm going to try and stay on the fence a little bit here, but certainly Rashford, he's not a player you're going to want to bench. Arsenal's high line maybe could actually favour Rashford in this game, getting in behind the defenders and getting one-on-one with the goalkeeper. That could be pretty nice for him, but yeah, in general, he's just in such good form right now, Rashford, that you just wouldn't want to bench him, and you kind of fancy him against any opponent, really. Any opponent in the world, you kind of back him to do something. We've got Martinelli up next, so on the flip side of it, Martinelli might not be showing quite the same form as Rashford, but his numbers are still really good. Obviously, Martinelli did really well in Game Week 17 and 18, even though he has blanked the last two games. You still do kind of fancy him in any game. I feel like people maybe are kind of rushing Martinelli out a little bit. They're kind of worried about him or making a sideways switch to Odegaard. I kind of understand it in a way, but at the same time, Martinelli has been good. I feel like we should be probably keeping him. I'm certainly going to be keeping him. And again, Manchester United, it's not a great fixture. It's one of the hardest fixtures you can possibly have at the moment. Would not be surprised if Rashford or Martinelli blanked in this game. But at the same time, one thing of note is Casemiro is not going to be available for this game. And that's going to be huge for Manchester United. And I feel like without Casemiro, maybe that's going to give Martinelli and the other Arsenal guys a few more opportunities to score goals. So if you've got a Saka or an Odegaard in your team, then these are going to be really good options as well, potentially, with the form that they're in up against a Manchester United without Casemiro. Could actually end up being, a goal or two, you imagine. But I don't think this is going to be a super high scoring game no matter what. But, you know, if we're talking about which players we think are going to score well, even in a low scoring game, Rashford would definitely be one of those players. Martinelli, I think, has to be in that conversation as well. Almiron up next. Crystal Palace are actually showing some of the worst defensive numbers in the whole Premier League since the break, which is kind of a surprise because before the break, their defensive numbers were actually pretty good, but it seems to have really gone wrong for them over the last few game weeks. And Almiron, although he's probably not kind of the superstar that he was before the break, I feel like you still have to have a little bit of confidence in him. He is a player that I feel like I would be willing to sacrifice. Like, looking through my midfield right now, if I had to lose one of these midfielders, probably would be Almiron, to be fair, but I don't think he's an absolute must-sell. Like I say, Crystal Palace are a weak defence, and Almiron is still going to be starting games at the moment. I don't think he'll get dropped or rotated quite yet. He's going to have to really have a few bad games before that happens. So, yeah. The only maybe concern is maybe he moves us into a slightly deeper position. You know, if Alexander Isak is going to play up top with Wilson, then maybe Almiron is going to be kind of dropping a little bit deeper potentially. But that's something that we're going to have to find out over the coming game weeks, isn't it? So eyes on that one. Almiron for now, I think I'm going to keep him, but I feel like if I had to trade someone, it would be him. Moving up top, we've got Erling Haaland against Wolves again. Yeah, I mean, blanked for a couple of game weeks in a row, so maybe he gets the Martinelli treatment and we all sell him. No, I don't think so. He's a superstar player, and I think that he's going to do really, really well again against Wolves. He's really kind of had a couple of tough games, of course, but Wolves is a much, much easier fixture. This is a better fixture for Manchester City, and Haaland, you know, hopefully he's going to be able to get back to his mega scoring ways before everyone gives up on him. But yeah, maybe we kind of hope that a few people give up on him, and then we can keep Haaland and he goes a mega. I quite like that. Harry Kane against Fulham is a really nice fixture for an in-form forward. I like this one a lot. If he can do anything like he did a couple of game weeks ago against Crystal Palace, then that is going to be really, really amazing, isn't it? So yeah, Harry Kane, come on, let's get back to goal scoring ways. We know he's been a fantastic top scoring player in FPL this season, and we think he's going to continue that as well. There's no reason to think that he wouldn't. He's just the absolute star of this Spurs team that is kind of lacking in many other areas, but he seems to be keeping it consistent. So if we're going to go for a Spurs player, it's going to be Harry Kane. So yeah, long may that continue. Ivan Toney up against Leeds. So Leeds actually have the worst defensive record of any team looking at the numbers since the World Cup break. So this is a very good fixture for Toney. We know he's on penalties as well. Bit of a penalty merchant, but we don't mind that too much. But yeah, a lot of people are looking at Toney at the moment. I would say that, yeah, of course, some people are going to be worried about maybe he gets banned at some point, or, you know, maybe he gets a blank game week in 25. But if you have him already, hey, this is a good thing. This is a really good thing. And I don't mind even buying him. I think if I had to buy a forward right now whose name was not Haaland, whose name was not Harry Kane, then the name would probably be Ivan Toney. So yeah, I think this is a good one. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can produce against Leeds. He's been a very top scoring player in FPL that has been ignored for various reasons over the course of the season. But yeah, I think this is good. I think this is very good. I'm really thinking that Brentford, the form they're in as well, they're doing very well at the moment. And Toney is really the centre and star of it all at the club. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. I think we could get a goal or two in this game for Toney, and I'm really looking forward to being able to capitalise on that, really. Onto the bench, guys. We've got Ward. Yes, like I say, I could play Ward against Brighton, and I know on paper that probably looks like the better decision to go for, but football is not played on paper. Football is played on grass, and on grass, I do think Kepa has actually got the slightly better chance of a clean sheet. I know that sounds crazy to say, but I really do feel like that. Like, I just don't rate Leicester at all at the moment. They seem to be all over the place, and Brighton I really do rate as an attack. I think Brighton are actually a better attack than Liverpool at the moment, and I think that Chelsea are a better defence than Leicester are at the moment. So all in all, that just tells me that Kepa is the better goalkeeper decision, and I know a lot of people are going to be split on this decision, but I'm actually pretty confident. I'm pretty confident. Let's see how it goes. Reality is often different to what you predict, but hey, I'm going with Kepa. We've got Luke Shaw on the bench. Like I mentioned earlier, the lack of Casemiro does worry me. The fact it's an away fixture does worry me. And that's not me necessarily saying that Man United are going to lose to Arsenal, but it is me saying that I think Arsenal will score against Manchester United. And I think we could be looking at a nice 2-pointer for Luke Shaw, which is not what I want. I prefer a Lewis Dunk in this particular fixture. And I'm pretty happy that I have the luxury to be able to go for Lewis Dunk for this game week, even though kind of fixtures in the future maybe not so great. But yeah, happy to go with Dunk this week. Luke Shaw can deputise on the bench. You know, if we have a Ake who doesn't play or whatever, you know, maybe Shaw comes in then. Andreas against Spurs, don't really fancy him too much, and Bruyne against Manchester City, I really don't fancy. So yeah, those guys can stay on the bench. Now, when it comes to transfers, I've got one free transfer. Do I want to make one? Well, I'm just going to tell you guys, I'm not going to make a transfer. I'm going to roll my transfer, and the reason why I'm going to be rolling my transfer is because I feel like we're going to get so much good information ahead of game week 22. We're going to get details on double game weeks. We could have a double in 22. We're going to get details on more double game weeks. We could potentially have a game week 25 double game week as well. And we could also get game week 25 blank game weeks. That's the information that's going to come out before too long as well. So lots of double game week announcements and blank game week announcements coming very, very soon. And we're going to get loads of more information going into game week 22. So having 2 free transfers in game week 22, I think it's going to be really powerful, really advantageous. Now, there is one kind of move that I was considering, but I can't quite afford it, and that was Almiron to Ødegaard. Unfortunately, I'm 0.1 million short of this move, and I have to say, if I could afford to make this move, I probably would do it. I'm not saying that I'd definitely do it, because I do think Almiron versus Crystal Palace is not actually too bad, but Ødegaard against a Manchester United, the form that Ødegaard's in, United without Casemiro, I think that's going to make a big difference. So I would probably make that move if I could, but I can't. So there's no point complaining about that one too much. Let's just roll with Almiron, and hopefully he can match Ødegaard. And we can think about moving to Ødegaard next game week instead, using a double transfer instead. One other move I would potentially think about as well is maybe going for Mitoma for Brighton. Playing on that left wing has been just playing so well at the moment. He's looking good. His numbers are good. Brighton's attack is just phenomenal at the moment, and they've got a decent fixture against Leicester. So Mitoma is definitely a player who I would like to have, but I don't think that's actually going to be possible for me, unfortunately. So he is going to, I mean, yes, it's possible. Like, I could take out Almiron, but it doesn't help me if I want to get Ødegaard in for Almiron. I want to keep Martinelli. It doesn't really help me. Like, it's going to be difficult to get Ødegaard in if I also get Mitoma in now. Even if I upgrade Andreas or downgrade Almiron, I'm not going to have the money to go for Ødegaard as well, unless I sell Mitoma again immediately. Go for Mitoma as a 1-week punt. Don't really like it. You know, it's wasting transfers. So, yeah, these are kind of things that have kind of been whizzing around my brain over the last couple of days. Can I get a Brighton midfielder in? Can I get Ødegaard in? I can't get Ødegaard in without taking a -4. I'm not prepared to sacrifice Martinelli with the upcoming double game week, game against Everton as well. And I think Martinelli has been good. I think it's been good. I know people have not been raving about him because he got a couple of blanks, but I still think it's been good. So it's difficult. Like, I'd love to get some of these players in. It's just not going to be possible. And I feel like with potential upcoming blank for Brighton as well in game week 25, again, is that going to put me off going for Mitoma as well? Potentially this could be a blessing in disguise, not going for him. And like, this is something I always say as well. When in doubt, do nothing. And I am in doubt at the moment. I'm not convinced by any of the moves that I'm thinking about making. I'd rather just save the transfer, get more information for game week 22. At that point, we could potentially have announcements of a Manchester United double game week in game week 22. Leeds would double as well in that game week as well. So that could be pretty good. We'd be going into that kind of week with, you know, maybe options to get Manchester United players in and kind of switch things around a little bit. 2 transfers is infinitely more powerful than 1. It's more than double more powerful than 1, isn't it, really? Because you don't take any -4s and you can make, you know, multiple changes. So, yeah, that's my plan, really, guys. I'm just going to hold out this week and see what happens and see what information we get and kind of react to that as it comes in. But, yeah, the information is power. Let's take a step back. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, in terms of captaincy, Erling Haaland, no doubt about that. Throw the captain's armband on him as usual. And we'll put the vice captain on Harry Kane as well. And that, guys, is going to conclude my Game Week 21 team. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm doing. I think it looks pretty good. Although, I have to say, I think this is going to be one of the more low-scoring game weeks. I think game week 22, 23 will be high-scoring game weeks. I think 21 is going to be a pretty low-scoring one. So I wouldn't worry too much about high scores. As long as your score is higher than other people's, that's all that matters. And fingers crossed we can do that with this team. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this one, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe if you are new around here as well. We have got a wildcard video coming out tomorrow as well, so look forward to that. And, of course, we'll be doing a deadline stream on Saturday morning, so hopefully I see a few of you guys there as well. But, yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. Really appreciate you supporting the content recently. It really is massively appreciated. But for now, guys, I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.